All right. Call tonight's meeting to order. Please stand and join us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as it's written.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, second by Councilmember Allen to approve tonight's agenda as presented. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. All right. And agenda.
Good on that. Did I find anything on that? Okay, Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Sorry, there's a motion in the, it's major warrior.
Oh,
No, it all gets covered by this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'll second. Been moved by Councilmember Renard, second by Council President Hanson to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Anyone need further info on the word? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, whenever you have time, Mrs. Raker, can you grab the public comment sheet?
We have one request.
All right. All right, Mr. Walsh, come on up. Give you a 5-minute time limit.
Okay, Michael Walsh, city resident. I just want to revisit the fire district agreement. I know this has been discussed and cussed a lot already, but in Texas politics, they have a saying, you got to dance with them that brung you to the dance. And in this instance, the taxpayers of the city brought you folks here to represent us and not the fire district. And I do not think that the offer that was made is in the best interest of the taxpayers. Especially since it's a 5-year, no increase. Even in case there's a catastrophic problem with machinery or anything. So are you gonna make that same type of agreement with the taxpayers of the city? That you're not going to increase their property taxes if something comes up and you have to replace a piece of equipment? I mean, I would ask just that we get equal treatment in this regard. But as I said, I just don't personally feel that the offer is in the best interest of the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
I'll make one comment to that.
Sure.
I understand. Thank you for that, but I just want to reiterate and go back to the fire districts are paying us for a service. It's no different than if you hire someone to mow your yard, which is what I used last time. Let me get my point.
I'm not saying.
If the person that's mowing your yard was mowing someone else's yard and the lawnmower broke down, they're not gonna come to you and say, you have to give me another $1,000 so that I can buy a new lawnmower so I can continue to mow your yard. That's not how a service contract works. I get that. That's just part of the cost that we have to figure out, the fire department and the city, that we use to decide how much is the right amount, right? But we keep talking about, well, what if a piece of equipment breaks? Well, that's part of doing business, and in the way it gets talked about, it sounds like, well, we need to pass that bill to our customer, and that's not the way business works. It's not the way of somebody mowing the yard, right? So
Yes, it is how it's done in business. A businessman, if they're smart and want to stay in business, they're going to pass on the cost of maintenance and replacement of equipment over a period of time. If not, they're not going to stay in business. But we are not business here. We are a government entity, a
Right.
taxing authority.
yes,
We represent the citizens, not them. This is not a business transaction. This is a government entity transaction between two taxing authorities.
right, but we provide a service. They pay us for a service. right? And that's it. They just, hey, we are hiring you to provide this service. That's what they're doing, right?
But not if you give them a 5-year agreement with no chance of increasing if there is something that's wrong with it.
So
It's not the same.
and I get that, but what I'm saying is the way it gets talked about in time, let's say we break a truck and we have to spend 60,000 to build a new truck. People are talking about is we just go back and say, hey, you need to pay us an extra 60,000. And then the bill goes back down. You
That's
just
not
need to
what-
average your costs.
Like I said, if it's, you're doing a business, you put it over a year's
Yeah.
period, or, if you got a 5-year contract, you put maintenance and replacement costs over a
Right,
5-year
absolutely.
period. We're not doing that.
Absolutely, we do, we need to average, and my argument last week was, we don't know what that is.
Well,
Right,
then maybe more work needs to be done on figuring out what the actual cost would be, and not just to go along with, hey, let's do this until something happens.
and that's what I'm asking is we all know it needs to go up, right? So let's raise it. And then let's spend the next 5 years finding out what that right number is. And that's what we need to average those
But
costs.
are you going to make it so the taxpayers of Ellsworth don't have to incur those costs? But they're not, are you gonna say their taxes aren't gonna go up? Up for fire equipment?
Right now, I don't, we're actually, the budget's on here today, so we'll talk about that. That'll be part of the budget discussion for next year. Right?
But that discussion needs to be made before a valid offer can be made. That's why you need to make it a 1 year. And then say, okay, maybe we can make it a 5-year agreement the following fiscal year.
Well, what's different this year than from next year?
Because we don't, because the decision or the research hasn't been done. The costs haven't been figured out.
Correct, but you can't just take 1 year, because I could break 7
I'm not-
trucks in a year.
I'm saying, give it a year.
God, let's hope not.
I know, right?
Let's not
but
do that.
it could.
I don't know if I'm communicating this properly. If we just give it a year, that doesn't lock us in case something catastrophic does happen. And then the city taxpayers don't have to foot the bill.
But at the end of that year, if you sign a 5-year contract, now you're locked in.
But then you can work out what the costs are going to be.
But that's what I'm saying, you can't just take 1 year and say, that's what a year looks like.
That's what I'm saying.
Dan, do you have something that you'd like to add? Because let's wrap this up.
Yes, I do. Albert Einstein said that no problem can be solved by the same consciousness that created it. I honestly believe if we hold fast to the 5-year agreement, we are continuing to add to the 40-year incremental non-sharing of the cost. Meaning, if in fact we go back to the 12-month, that gives not only a new administrator, this council, as well as the townships, a process to resolve the situation or continue to work at something that's equitable for the township as well as the city. So I believe the 5-year connotations that we propose needs to be recanted, reviewed. I have no problem with the 12-month. It gives both parties time to make adjustments. I believe that. So I like what Mike is presenting. I just think we have to do it a different way than a 5-year agreement. 45 years of keeping the Ellsworth taxpayer in a bind.
It's not for others. We're changing.
We're changing it, but if we add 5 more years to it, we're still going to have the taxpayer pay more. Because
But you also understand if we rename it, more than likely, they've all threatened to say we are not going to do this, so now we're not going to have 12,500, we're gonna have nothing. Because they won't go elsewhere.
That's fine.
Right, but then that's gonna come back on the taxpayers.
No, because we can sell the comes back out of the agreement.
Right,
and we can sell the equipment.
but Ralph needs that money in his budget. That, I mean, that's $25,000 that he won't have in his budget if they're not paying in.
If we sell rural fire equipment, we can make up part of that difference.
Okay, hold on a second before you go down. that
I have.
path. Ralph? You got something to
Can we
say on
wrap
that
this
one?
up?
This is
This
a,
isn't even on the.
yeah.
What's,
Well,
Discussion about this, if we want to
Yeah.
discuss this
I'll
more,
put it on next time. if you want
we
to.
can,
we're,
we can discuss it more.
we're signed up an agreement to support the state for wildfires, okay? Those, the trucks you're wanting to give away.
We're not giveaway, sell. And
No, it doesn't, no,
You
it's not
can-
gonna- no, that's not gonna.
But you can, you can cancel an agreement by state law.
We can talk more about that at another meeting.
Okay.
I mean, I think the thing to keep in mind, their budgets haven't even passed yet, so we don't even know what they can afford
They
to
haven't
give
even- They haven't
us.
even published yet.
Right. So,
I just wanted to give you my opinion and also correct some misperceptions, what I thought were misperceptions
we appreciate that.
of certain aspects of the agreement.
All right, thank you.
Like,
Okay, so I guess there will be some unfinished business next time, then. Everybody will, okay to put it on the agenda next time, or 2 meetings from now? All right. New business.
How about 2 meetings?
Let's see, ordinance number 3186, terminating the Ellsworth redevelopment district 2011, created pursuant to ordinances numbers 3021 and 3100.
Madam Mayor and council members, as we've been discussing, back in 2011, the city started the redevelopment district, i.e. TIF district. During that time, any growth in property taxes to any of the taxing entities, the city, the county, this USD, the extension district, and even living on the township, all those taxes, instead of going into their general funds, went to the city's TIF fund. There was money borrowed back in 2011 to do the project up there. And as the taxes have grown, like they should be, and on a TIF, the basic tax for the, basically the bare land, we're still going to all the right entities, but any growth of the taxes went to pay off the bonds. It worked well. In fact, this probably should have been addressed 2-3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, because the city has more money than the amount of debt still due. There's about $615,000 in debt, give or take. So this year stops the TIF collections. All the taxing entities will receive that same amount of money to keep the millage the same, or the tax dollars the same. It'll go into their general funds. And in the case of the city, probably a little bit north of $100,000. And I'll talk about that a little more in the budget size here down the road here, if you approve this. And then we'll pay the $600,000 off this fall, and that actually is a bond, but it's only held by one bondholder. One, it was all purchased by the bank up there, First Kansas, and so this will stop collection. There is still about $1 million remaining. We can talk about other projects in the area, and there may be some that can be talked about. If that money does not get spent, it'll all go back to the individual tax units at some point in time. At this point in time, we'll be talking about that. But there's no sense of keep adding money on top of this money because we have one that says, so this ordinance here that Mr. Caroline from Gilmore Bell put together basically stops state collections now. We'll pay off the bonds on October 1, and the clerk will notify the 4 entities, as the city, of course, the school district, extension, Ellsworth Township, in the county. So, in Ellsworth Township, and we'll start this in place then.
all right, Madam Mayor, I move to approve and adopt ordinance number 3186, which terminates the Ellsworth redevelopment district 2011, created pursuant to ordinances number 3021 and 3100.
Second.
The move by Councilmember Renard, second by Councilmember Moon, to approve and adopt ordinance number 3186, which terminates the Ellsworth redevelopment district 2011, created pursuant to ordinances number 3021 and 3100. Any discussion? Any questions? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Resolution number 2026-13, ending the declaration of a water warning.
Madam Mayor and council members, in 2024, the city had a water warning to issue the council bid. Was renewed last year. Of course, it's rained a bit this year. It needs to quit. Basically, this says it just goes back. And again, I think the citizens should be thanked for being conservative. Our water warning was not difficult. It's water on certain days a week and it wash it a little bit. I think we need to do it. But we're in great shape right now on all this, so. This will have to get published one time because this, when it was put in place, it had to publish, when it takes away, it have to publish again, so. It's just the cost of doing business, so.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 2026-13 to the declaration of a water warning. Ending the declaration of a water warning.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Council President Hansen, second by Councilmember Renard to adopt resolution number 2026-13, ending the declaration of a water warning. Any discussion? Great, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Award of bid for reconstruction of taxi lanes at the Ellsworth Airport.
Madam Mayor, of course, this is part of the project that, the city actually got a grant a couple of years ago for, and we approved this winter, and then, we also got the added piece, that we applied for that grant, and got that grant. And even though I didn't have it on here, we'll have it on next time. We've got paperwork on the second part of the grant today from the state. I mean, I didn't have it as it's writing. I got it this afternoon and had no chance to review it, so. What we're gonna talk tonight is basically just a base bid right here. And this has been reviewed. We have, just so y'all understand here, when the bids were opened that day, Brad Waller finished, read all the bids. And the apparent low bid at the opening was PSC Contractors, of Wichita. However, when they went back and looked at all their line items and figured it out, their bid, there was one other bid that changed. Well, and the other bid was a higher bid, so we don't care, but in the case of PSC, it put them now $9,000 higher than Boyd's Bargain. Our city attorney has been in contact with Brad, I mean, shared emails, and, so Brad's recommendation of mine is accept the bid from Boyd's Parga in the amount of $673,935.26. Paul, do you have any comments?
I think you accurately described what's going on. I know there was a little bit of confusion with the amounts, because it did appear that there was one that was lower. And it was appeared to be a calculating error when you added all the line items together and made the total amount higher. And so at that point, again, going further into it, decision was to recommend that what will be the secondary bid, which was actually the lowest bid, be recommended for approval.
What apparently happened is the company, PSE, when they moved numbers from their bid worksheet in like 3 or 4 different line items over to the bid sheet, they made errors. And again, I'm comfortable with going with the Boyd's Barga, because. And again, the city attorney with all the legal side of it.
So I will move to accept the bid in the amount of $673,935.26 from the Boats Harbor Construction LLC of Mountain Ridge, Kansas, for reconstruction of the taxi lanes at the Ellsworth Airport. This project is known as the KAIP project number AB 2025-11.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Councilmember Moon, second by Councilmember Renard to accept the bid in the amount of $673,935.26 from Voigt's Parga Construction LLC of Mountain Ridge, Kansas, for reconstruction of the taxi lanes at the Ellsworth Airport. This project is known as KAIP, project number AB-2025-. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, so as I told you in my packet, I have worked with Boyd's Barga before and had a good project with them, so they.
And this is the money like from the aviation?
Grant.
Right, okay. And it's a 90-10 match.
To match, yeah. And then we'll have the alternate next time. Because even though we'll probably accept them, and you have to, you've been told you're gonna have money, you can't spend it until you sign the agreement or put it all in place, so, and I didn't have the agreement as of Friday, and we wanna look at it to make sure, I'll have Brad look at it to make sure, shouldn't be a problem, but again, gotta do business in order.
Okay, any other questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Oops. All right, consulting services agreement with Alfred Benesh and Company for the Ellsworth Municipal Airport Taxi Lanes Project Construction Phase Services.
Madam Mayor, Councilmember, first of all, Brad could not be here tonight, but very familiar with this stuff. This was the bid for, this will be the bid for consultant service for the, I call it construction area or inspection. It's, that money is part of the grant as well, so 910 goes there as well. In the amount of seven, not to exceed 70,670. If for some reason you don't approve the alternate, that amount goes down because it's not to exceed number.
Okay, Madam Mayor, I move to approve the agreement with Alfred Banish and Company for consulting services for Ellsworth Municipal Airport Construction Phase Services in the amount not to exceed $70,670.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Renard, second by Councilmember Allen to approve the agreement with Alfred Benesh and Company for consulting services for Ellsworth Municipal Airport Construction Phase Services in the amount not to exceed $70,670. Any further discussion, any questions? All right, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, review of bids for the purchase of 5
Turbodimeters.
Termodimeter.
Turbodimeters.
Turbidimeters to bring out water.
Oh, they're.
I know that's what they do.
They measure turbidity.
We're gonna look at 5 of these.
Good.
Maybe just tell about the project real quick. You know why we need them?
Can you say it, Dave?
I say it the other way, but I corrected the whole time.
There's a history why I write turbodimeters.
The digimeter, whatever. What they do is, we had our monitor go out once. And also we had 2 of the old ones. They've been in there since 2003. So, you know, it's, and they're outdated, they can't get the parts for them anymore and everything else, but they have ran as much as they can, and we need to upgrade so we can more do a little bit better job of measuring that. And what that does is the particles in the water is what it's measuring. So anything that gets past the filters, it's measured down. And we've always been way down on that, so. But we do definitely need some.
Good.
Madam Mayor, I move to accept the bid submitted by the USA Blue Book for the purchase of 5 turbidity meters. Whatever it is,
Turbodimeters.
in the amount of $19,351.41.
I'll second.
I have to say it again. Okay, it's been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Moon to accept the bid submitted by USA Blue Book for the purchase of 5 turbidimeter.
Turbidimeters.
Yep, in the amount of $19,351.41. Any discussion? Anyone else want to try that word?
Sure, no.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Thank you very much.
Motion passed. Yeah, thank you, Dave. All right, discussion of city code regarding weeds.
Madam Mayor, council members, and staff, talking about the weeds that are grown between, in the curb, where the street is the curb and gutter. Looked at different things and heard different stuff and checked minutes. If you look at the city code book, it says that the property, the adjacent property owner takes care of the weeds to the center of the street, basically. The right of way, adjacent right to the property take care of, also in an alley, take care of those weeds. However, there was some discussion back in, well, first of all, the ordinance that's in place now, that's that. Even though you guys did some stuff a few years ago, in my mind, it doesn't count. Because, or the council at that time, because the ordinance is in the book, so it's one that was adopted on June 14th, 2021, that says the, area adjacent to the property, to the center of the right of way, you take care of, okay? Probably 90% of the cities in the state of Kansas do it that way. I never had one that didn't do it that way. You guys have, the council, not you guys, the council had discussion on August 14th, basically of 2023. However, on August 28th, after discussion, and this is something that happened before, that won't happen on my watch here at least, is you pass an ordinance, says, I want to change it like this, but the changes were never documented or anything like that. The city clerk at the time has ordinance that was signed by the mayor, that's in your packet. And that ordinance says to Sarah Street, basically. It was signed by the mayor. However, this ordinance was never published. And again, I wish, and different city attorney time too as well. I wish they had put on there that ordinances do not take effect until they're published one time in the paper. So we had the ordinance. So basically, we're back to right now is we have the ordinance that says, you know, it's just Center Street. However, since everybody thinks, as the council talked about it, we probably need to revisit again. So if you want to revisit, give me what you want to do. We can prepare something for next time then. But as the ordinance reads today, in my opinion, for the city code book, it's to the center of the street. Now, I know the council had discussion on it, but the ordinance that was passed and signed is not, is set to the center of the street. And also, since it was never published, to go back to the other ordinance as well. We have found, surprisingly, there's been a period of 5 or 6 years where your ordinances here are a mess. We found one the other day where 2 ordinance numbers are the same. We had a period of time where a city clerk did not keep minutes properly, she recorded, but she didn't write the minutes. And at one point in time, the council then would approve like months of minutes back in 2020. Just bad keeping. We have ordinances that are not signed by one party or the other. We found that a lot have been published. That's pretty good there, but that's all we can take care of, and that's not going to happen again. But the ordinance today says go to Center Street. So if you want to keep it to Center Street, we probably want to redo that ordinance again. Or do you want to go to the top of the curb? I don't like the time. From me standpoint, I understand the act. This doesn't mean all the discussion on it is I don't want the city spraying on my curb.
I'm talking where the street meets the concrete of the curb, that city needs to spray that. They used to spray it
But no, this
up to the top,
It
just
says-
right where it's growing right in there.
discussion went to the top, yeah.
So, okay, a couple things.
But they used to spray it.
Well,
I don't know why
here's
they
the
quit.
thing, here's the thing. Well, first of all, I don't know what has changed. I know we don't have as many people maybe. But one thing, I mean, he mentioned it, is the spraying per se. We get calls in here from people that are complaining because they smell mosquito spray at 4 o'clock in the morning. When you go down the street, and I've watched them do it, they spray, they basically they're spraying cracks and everything else. So you're running that herbicide all the way down the curb. That's a lot of herbicide. People that take care of their lawns, if you don't believe me, all you gotta do is run up there to Cumberland Novak and drive around and see if anybody left weeds in the street. They don't. Because if you
could, a lot of damn weeds in the street.
If you
drive
take-
around
Well,
more.
if you take care of your property, you do.
Take care of the damn street. We gotta go back to what we used to do, and they used to spray where the bricks met the concrete of the curb. They can go by with that New Holland tractor they used to take, and they can spray it like they always used to, and it worked great. It killed them. Why can't we do that? Why did it ever stop?
And where's the
That's what
spray go?
it looks bad.
Where's the spray go?
Probably on the ground would be my
Does
guess.
it go
I would
down?
hope.
Does it get more than that?
Well, I guess if it would rain.
Now
next
we're
day,
running,
yeah.
now we're running into.
But why would you spray weeds if it's gonna rain? Nobody does that. You would wait, right?
Most time, we're talking spot stuff.
Yeah,
And,
spot spray.
and so I don't see any reason that anybody that takes care of their lawn, people that leave weeds in the street are the ones that don't take care of their lawn.
Well, but at least that would look good, because it looked pretty trashy.
You know what you want? Just
I want them to spray.
Well, like,
like they
I can
used
tell you right now, the ordinance, as I read it, look at the book, it says we go to the middle of the right way. Or the right.
The owner goes.
The owner goes to the middle of the street, basically, middle of the alley. That's the way the ordinance reads, whatever happened, you thought it got changed. It didn't.
I thought we did change it
It
back.
didn't happen.
Yeah, it never happened. That's what I'd like
Do
to
we
see.
have capacity? Like, do we have enough staff and enough funds to like spray all the streets for weeds? Or is it, if we went the way Tyler's suggesting, is it more just spot basis?
It's spot, but it's gonna take extra time with people, I mean, and again, I've never.
What they used to do.
Yeah, and I'm not, I know you didn't do it, I'm not arguing you didn't do
So
it.
now we're gonna have dead weeds in the street instead of live ones. Because they're not gonna go out there and cut those down. Last time they do spray them, the weeds still setting.
They
in the
won't
tree.
grow though.
Well, I don't know if a live weed looks any better than a dead one.
I
A
think it
weed
does.
is just a misplaced flower.
I think it does, but whatever, I mean, they used to do it, I don't know why it ever quit, but apparently it did. But I'd like to send that crop back.
Mr. Dingley, Madam Mayor, just a question for Mr. Dinkle in his time in other cities. What kind of ordinance have you seen that are similar or different?
The one that we have exactly right here, basically, to Center Street. I never knew of it, I did until I got here. And they're priced out, I'm not gonna do that, probably others. Of course, then you got people, and I see Karen here, she doesn't have a curb and gutter, so how far does she go out? And we have other, that's not a curb and gutter either. Pull that part down as well, and so, you can't legislate, you can legislate pride, I mean, you can't, I mean, we say we can find them and send them notice and have them trim themselves and send, do the work and bill them and everything else, but, again, it's about pride of the ownership and the community, taking care of the properties as well.
So, Madam Mayor, as far as tweaking or coming up with another ordinance, can something be added in that ordinance that might empower people to be more conscientious about the appearance?
Whatever you want, that's fine. All I'm telling you is the ordinance as it reads right now, if you get the code book, look it up. It says to Sarah Street, basic, or. That's what it means, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica, may I say something?
Yes.
2 years ago, I told him I was gonna mow twice and the grass. And I have it, I cut it out of the paper. Tyler said, get out there and spray that grass and kill it. Tyler, they haven't done a thing. The grass is still dead. Nobody has done anything. It just keeps going further and further
Yeah,
out
but that's
into the
also-
street.
When I drove by last time when I've been, shooting meeting, and I looked at it, it's like, we have other streets, there's still 18 to 20 feet of gravel street, no different than a lot of places here now, so it's not, and again, according to the code now, it is her duty.
Exactly, yeah, in the middle of the road.
Really, I had different, ordinance here, when
What's the consensus? Anybody
I
have,
won't say it's spray.
I would want to see it sprayed and
I say that we go to the middle of the street like the ordinance is written and get it published like it's supposed to be and be done.
Dan, Russ, Darcy, any strong feelings?
And what was the concern about the runoff of the?
not service concerns, right, you're using the contact herbicide. We're not using Primatol, we're not using anything that sterilizes. I hope not. More likely it's life saving. So, it kills,
Well, I can tell you this, if the city starts spraying stuff on the street, you're gonna get calls.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's gonna complain that their rose died or their petunia bit the dust, even though it was a block away from where it got
I've
sprayed.
got-
Right, but the same
I've got
people are
this
also gonna call and say, complain because somebody didn't take care of their weeds in the street. I mean, we keep our yard taken care of and we don't blow our stuff in that, and we still have weeds in the curb. I mean, it's there. But so the same people that built their roses are the same people that are calling complaining because their neighbors aren't taking care of their weeds.
Mr. Casper?
Yeah, just to add, if I, Madam Mayor, if I may have a minute, nothing, in either of the ordinances, the one that's currently in place or, the proposed one that didn't get published, would preclude the city from taking action to either spray it or mow it or do anything with that. What it does is it says general duty is on the adjacent landowner to take care of that. Now, if at any time the city comes in and says, hey, we have some funds or this is something we want to do, we're gonna go and spray all the curb and guttering in the city. Or, you know, if there's something that can be agreed to there, the city still has the authority to do that. That is city right of way, and the city has access to that to use it for the street purposes, to use it for sidewalk curb purposes, as well as to maintain that. Generally speaking, what this ordinance does says that the city isn't required to solely take care of it. And it puts it on the landowner to say, hey, you're supposed to take care of this, but if there's an agreement by the city could go and spray it or do something with that, if funds are available, or if that's something the city wants to do.
Well, and then that'd be fine if they could do that, and then do you bill them or what do you do? I mean, at least they'd be dead.
It's up to the city. If you're gonna bill them, you're gonna have to give notice, you're gonna have to work with us, the land, you can't just go and spray and then say, oh, by the way, now. It's just like with the mowing nuisance ordinance, you give them notice, if they don't take care of the nuisance, then the city can go through the process of abating it and then bill the landowner for it, if that's the route they need to go. In reviewing the two ordinances, I wasn't here, I don't know why they did the new one. If I had to guess, and I hate doing that, but I think there may have been this exact question as to who was responsible for it, and the city was trying to clarify to say, because really all the city did was add an additional definition for what the adjacent landowner was responsible for. And I think that's commonly used, as you say, right away, people think, well, it's the area between the curb and the sidewalk. But the city easement for roads, or the city right of way for the roads, as Alan said, it goes to the middle of the street and extends out whatever footage is allotted by that particular alleyway or roadway or whatever. So I think there's a verbiage, a usage of words to say, hey, I thought right of way was just that little stretch there. Well, that's not necessarily the case depending on how the street or alley is laid out. So again, I think it was just a situation that maybe they were trying to clarify that they didn't just mean that little area, they meant the middle of the street. But in reviewing it, I think the current way it's currently read saying the right of way is the responsibility of the adjacent land, that right of way does go to the middle of the street or middle of the alleyway, whatever, however the area is laid out that we're talking about. Any questions before I walk all the way back there?
No.
And I agree. All I know is it's not, you know, whatever. Again, that wasn't the only order we found issues with,
Maybe we write it like that, where like it is your responsibility, but the city has the right to come in there, like.
well, we always have that, I think, now, you know. Unless we're under, you know. This is how you want to do business, you know.
Anybody feel like it needs to be reworked and presented, or is he happy with what was written a few years ago?
I think we should just get it published.
We'll probably agree, no, we'll do it right. You know, that's one of those things, you know, there was a meeting right before I started here, there, where. Well, the charter orders we came back to the duties of the mayor, a lot of time, appointments, all those. You know, the night of the meeting, what happened was the king made a change. And I always said back then, if I ever bring an ordinance to you, city administrator, whoever does bring an ordinance, and you want to change something. Bring it to the next meeting, and that way everybody can look at the same change and the same verbiage, and there's no questions. But that motion that night was says, yeah, make these changes. but it doesn't say what these changes were, you know? And that caused confusion, and then it didn't get published, and just all those things, and it's part of what I always say about my jobs as an interim is to try to teach you maybe how to govern a little better. And use all my friends to do it, that's all I'm doing here, so we'll bring some next time, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, budget.
Madam Mayor, we don't need to do a lot tonight. Basically, this is, you know, I've recommended all along that we do not exceed the R and R. Because if we're gonna exceed the R and R, the revenues rate, we have to tell the county clerk by next Monday. And here's the reason a couple of reasons I think we should not consider doing the past the R and R. We could keep the same mill levy and get about $90,000 more. Keep it at 80.8 mills. We knocked down to 77 something this way. I think it's important. One is we've now raised 2 years in a row. There's no connection. Agreed totally. However, even though they're not connected, there's still money being paid by people living it down. Okay. Number 2, with the TIF refund now, with the TIF now ending, that money that we were spending instead of to the TIF fund can go to the general fund. One of my goals, no, that would be my goal, maybe I'll be going by that. My recommendation would be to use some of those TIF dollars, what was going to TIF, to help maybe pay the bond payment for the 3rd Street project. Now, we got other problems, of course. We know that we got the ball field lights. We take a look at this building, you got window issues, you probably got an issue with redoing the ceiling inside the gym. You probably should air condition the gym at some point in time. So the other question would be, as I mentioned in my packet, is do you ever want to look at a sales tax? Okay, voters are against property taxes, and I think next year, depends on who becomes governor, of course, property taxes are going to be hot and heavy. You know, and the limit on them and everything else, and some of the stuff that was talked about this last year, my mind was really stupid. Oh, thank God it didn't get any worse. And the bad one that got passed, the government didn't sign, they couldn't write the details, so that was fine. But it was all gonna be there. We have to look at other ways to fund things. You know, you hear me talk about one, I mean, we've been talking about the fire district contracts. How do you get funds to pay for stuff to pay for? We have to look at rates for recreation, I'm sure. We have to look, you know, last year we upped the pool rates a little bit. And everybody says, oh, the world's gonna end. It didn't end. People understand cost of services, you know, but they don't like property taxes, especially on things like that, because they don't go to the pool and they do pay a little bit each month anyhow on their water bill. That was that week, 4 or 5, whatever that was. And so you have that in place. So I don't believe we want to do the R and R this year, which if you don't want to do the R and R, we got time for next month to work the budget through. Yeah, you got a lot of issues. I mean, of course, you know, last year, I'll use fire, just talk about fire. We did increase fire by $40,000, which meant that it all went on the burden of the taxpayers of the city, not anybody else. And, you know, understanding how that worked there. Go Ellsworth is planning to come next meeting as well. I think that's been out here for a while. But I think we can do it. I really would do it. We show we have taxes in place. We've increased the sewer rates because we have to. I mean, that's not a choice. But I think it's getting government in line. I think we've learned a lot of that. I think you went through a period of years, and I hate to go back and look at our city managers because I've been the other city manager towns, but I've left too. Is I think you just turned budgets loose too much here. We raised taxes. So I mean, we're high. Our mill levy is high. I think the county, from what I understand, the county is going to do an R and R hearing for the county budget. I'm not sure what yet. I would like to take a look at sales tax. If you want to do a sales tax, we can get on the ballot. We have to do something by the end of August.
I think we ought to look into it. I think that'd be a good idea.
However, you're gonna have an issue here. And again, I don't want to make that, I do not want to put the city attorney / his other job in line here, because that's not what the purposes is. And I've always said, because this room is the city attorney, and that is it. As you know, the county passed a sales tax last fall. So it was a special sales tax. One that does not get split up by the population and taxation. It would go all the way through the county for the county's project. The vote was approved by a 7-3 margin. I remember right where it was, 2-1 for sure. And the legislation not passing this year. That was a political battle. They wanted to pass 3 and 3, they didn't, and the House said, no, Senate, you don't pass them all, or, normally it's a slam dunk. I've never known one not to get approved by the legislature until now. There's some talk about what the county may do, some different things, I won't even bring it up tonight yet, but that may come in place, but I will put up the next agenda to talk more about that. Something to look at there, because a quarter cent sales tax would take care of ball field lights and other sundry things, some of the things for this building. This building needs to be air, the gym needs to be air conditioned. I don't know what we spend in renting fans there and doors open in the summertime and everything that comes into the building, so, just something to look at. I'm recommending not to pass R&R, and if you're concur, we'll just move forward.
I'm with you on that.
Sounds good.
Everybody,
Yeah.
Okay.
all right. Not pass the R or exceed R&R. Okay, set date for interviews for the city administrator position.
Madam Mayor, just so the council members, just so the public knows, as Maisie said, there was just some weird things happening and like at the council place. We have two applicants to be interviewed. Well, the 5th or 6th works, which is the best for you all. We do them on the same day, 5th or 6th.
Either for me.
Either. How about you?
Either.
Okay, I'll work with them and then we can come back and we don't need a motion tonight, it was. Supposed to be later on that. Cool. I can bet next week I have to do it, so. Go.
All right, department heads. Ralph, you got anything for us?
I don't have anything unless you've got questions for me.
Questions for Ralph? All right, I don't think so. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for being here. Water department, Mr. McColtz.
We're just in my piece.
Okay, great. Mr. Gasper,
Nothing, Madam Mayor.
Mrs. Redker. Never report. Mr. Dinkle.
Police Chief Murphy is having a grandkid, that's why he's not here. He thought that was more important than us. I don't disagree. Go elsewhere for the next meeting, Kevin has resigned as their director. Kim Colley, so but they'll come and talk to about it next meeting. And that is, let's just quit there for a minute. Oh. She's at 6:30.
We're doing good.
We got an executive session at two.
I know. Okay, city council, council member Allen. Council member Moon.
No.
Council member Bishop. Council president Hanson. No. Council member Bernard.
No.
I don't really have anything either. The things I have, I'll just email you. Okay. So, executive session.
We can get, I think we can buy 5.
Sure. I mean, I'm cool with 10. I mean. I'm not gonna tweak.
We're gonna need the whole 10, but we can do more.
Well, let's start with 5, and if we need more, we can add more time.
And then have that motion. Go with 7.
7-minute executive session. Who wants to make that motion?
Yeah, make it like this.
Mayor, here we go to the executive session for consultation with an attorney regarding attorney-client privilege due to settlement negotiations for potential litigation pursuant to KSA 754319. Subsection B, subsection 2, to include the mayor, city council, city attorney, and interim city administrator for 7 minutes, beginning at, we'll say 6:19, ending at 6:27. No, wait, 6:05. 6. Someone, thank you, man. 26.
Not man?
That's each of them.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by council member Allen, second by council president Hanson to adjourn into executive session for consultation with an attorney regarding an attorney-client privilege. To start at 6:19 and end at 6:26.
Promise there will be no action afterwards.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion passed.
Madam Mayor, I move the city council return from executive session with no decisions, where no decisions were made or no action was taken.
I'll second.
Been moved by council member Allen, second by council member Moon to return from executive session where no decisions were made and no action was taken. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Passed. Okay, I had a sticky note. I forgot there was one thing I wanted to tell you guys. Since we talked a lot about the airport tonight, they are having a fly-in on Saturday, August 1st. So that just means if you're, you fly in, you get free pancakes, but the general public is welcome to come out to their pancake feed too. It's a big fundraiser. I think I've said before that our airport is solely run by volunteers and we are able to qualify for 9 to 10 matches a lot, but this is awesome. So come out August 1st, have some pancakes. See me with my airport guys.
It was great last year.
Yeah.
Can't go this way. I'll be fitting the sleeper.
Nice.
I got show kids now.
Well, who'd like to adjourn?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Council President Hanson, second by Councilmember Allen to adjourn tonight's meeting at 6:28. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.